Have you ever lost time? Have you ever put something down only for it to reappear moments later, somewhere completely different? Have you ever been traveling somewhere only to find the route you took you somewhere different? This is not the only reality. So sit back and enjoy Free Glitch in the Matrix stories. Number 1. I'm 21 years old. About a year ago, I decided I was going to get my car valeted. Now, for anybody who doesn't know what that means, it basically means cleaned. I've been meaning to do it for a while, but it was also coming up to the Christmas holidays, and I had to pick up some stuff. I first went to a very popular electronics store. I did this so I could pick up a digital camera for my uncle. He was more like a dad to me, and I was very grateful for everything he had done for me, including buying this car. So I popped to the store, I picked up the digital camera, paid for it. Now it's time to go and get the car clean. I pull in, give the keys, and I wait for around 20 minutes before it's done. That was quick. They even put in a complimentary smelly tree on the rear view mirror. It was a nice little touch. Fast forward the day after, I realise I don't have the digital camera. Where is it? Where could I have put it? I think to myself for a couple of moments, and then it hit me. I must have left it in the car. I go outside and there's no sign of it. I check everywhere, in the boot, the back passenger seat. What if it was somehow moved when I was getting the car clean? I decide to take a short drive over there. I drive onto the forecourt and speak to one of the attendees I saw yesterday. I asked him if he saw anything in the car yesterday. He looks at me confused and he doesn't say anything for a couple of seconds. But what he did say really confused me. He said they weren't open yesterday, and not a single person had their car valeted yesterday. As you can imagine, I was there. I sat there for 20 minutes. Did I get my days confused? Definitely not. I even pulled out the purchase receipt for the digital camera that I bought, and it did confirm that it was definitely yesterday. And I definitely did have the car valeted. You could tell the car was spotless. The guy even made a joke about why would I want that car valeted when it was so clean to begin with. I did wonder if I could have been in some form of reality TV show, or if somebody was just playing a simple joke. So I went and had a chat with some of the locals. They had all confidently confirmed the business was in fact closed. I didn't really know what to think. Did I lose 20 minutes of my life? Did I dream it? It's now been 6 months. It had been 6 months. 6 months had gone by when I came across a post on the internet. It was about glitches in the Matrix, or the Mandela effect, that somehow time can change and shift, that there's potentially multiple universes out there. This is what I believe happened to me. It is the only, and I say logically, the only logical thing I can think of short of me losing my mind. But I do accept that I'll never know for certain. Number 2. This is only going to be a quick one. Something very strange happened to me when I moved house last summer. I had just finished doing my degree when I decided I need to get a place of my own. Now, I didn't have a girlfriend or anybody to move in with, so I decided to do it alone. I found a nice cheap apartment on the corner of one of the main roads outside my street. Like I said, it was cheap, and it looked quite nice, and the area was quiet, which is what I needed. So I arranged a viewing. I believe it was a Tuesday or Wednesday, I don't suppose it really matters. But I went to view the property. It was really nice, it was very big. And usually a house this size would come with a higher cost. So I was happy. The house itself was really nice laid out. You had your main room, a little kitchen, and one bedroom, and everything was furnished already, which took some of the stress out of moving. The living room had a sofa, a dining table. It also had a few cupboards for clothes. There was one bedroom that was also fully furnished with a bed that looked brand new and a walk-in wardrobe. But the kitchen was my favourite part. Everything was already there. A cooker, a dishwasher. I literally only needed to move myself in had I decided to go for it. The main selling point for me was the fact it was fully furnished. That had only been moved in a couple of days before. You could tell because it had that fresh furniture smell. You know, the one you always get when you go into the stores. So I had a little conversation with the man who was renting it. Just seemed like a normal guy, nothing out of the ordinary. I decided this is definitely the place for me. I'm so excited about how nice this place is. I give him the deposit straight away. I share with him how lucky I was to find such a nice place this early on in my search for a new house. He takes my money, goes downstairs and says he'll call me in the morning. Lo and behold, I go back to my parents' house. The day after, the phone rings. It's the landlord. He goes on to ask if I will be moving any stuff in today. This struck me as odd because everything was there. However, I didn't question it. I just thought he might have meant, some of the more personal, smaller things. I said, yes, that's absolutely fine. And I give him a time, and we arrange for the doors to be open so I can move my stuff in. A couple of hours later, and I show up at the door. The door at first seemed very strange. It seemed bigger than when I checked the house yesterday. No matter, it could have been my imagination. I walk in and the landlord's there. He has a smile on his face. But then again, I suppose you would if you just managed to rent your property out. Now this is where it gets strange. The landlord says to me, "When are you moving all the furniture in?" I said, "Excuse me? When are you moving all the furniture in? Besides for this old sofa, there's nothing much here." I'm left wondering if he means something completely different to what I thought he was talking about. I put my head around the corner of the door just to have a look, and he was right. There was nothing there except for a sofa that was older than me. The house was completely different to the one I saw yesterday. Corridors didn't match up. There was 2 bedrooms, and the main room wasn't as square as I initially thought. What's going on? I mentioned this to the landlord. He goes on to say that he met me yesterday. I had a look around the house and I was so happy I even gave him the deposit there and then. Of course, I remember the event completely differently. But I can confirm that the $500 I had taken out for the deposit was still missing. So, it definitely happened. I spent a couple of days back at my mother's house trying to work out what to do next. But because I'd already paid the deposit, or at least I thought I did, I decided I was going to move in anyway and save me losing the money. So I went to some family and some friends and they lent me the money in order to buy some new furniture. Now, this is a stranger part and it might not even be a glitch. But I bought exactly the same furniture that I saw when I went to view the house. The same sofa, the same wardrobes, everything. The only thing different are the shapes of the rooms, but every single piece of furniture is identical to the furniture I saw that day. Did I time travel, maybe? An alternate reality? I didn't even know what a glitch was until I came across some YouTube videos. And now I spend a large amount of time looking for similar events that have happened to other people, just to try to make sense of my own. Number 3. When I was a child, my parents had a very close friend. For the sake of this video, we're going to refer to him as Vic. He was very close to both my parents, and I did see him very often. Unfortunately, one day, My parents informed me that Vic had passed away. I was a little bit sad as he was a really nice guy. 15 years later, and I'm just minding my own business in my house. There is a sudden knock on the door, and I look to see an impossible silhouette. It can't be, can it? There was something that dragged straight deep within my memory that somehow recognized this silhouette. I walked up and opened the door, and it was Vic. But how can it be? I thought to myself. He looks at me for a couple of seconds, as if trying to recognize who I was. But he gives me a cheeky little smile and a little tap on the shoulder, kind of like the ones you see in those American TV shows. He asked me if my parents are around, and once again I'm silent, but I rush to grab their attention, and I assume they're going to be as shocked as I am about this. But they aren't. They welcome him with open arms and invite him in for a cup of tea. He's in my house for around 2 hours, and I can barely bring myself to say anything to him. He must have thought I was being really rude at the time, but talking to dead people weren't on my agenda for that day. So eventually he leaves. I'm very keen to find out from my parents what happened. I tell them that Vic had died. They then look at me as if I'm the one acting strangely, as if I was the one who just raised from the dead. They told me I was completely wrong, and that Vic was offered a job in Australia, and he'd been working out there pretty much ever since, and he was only back to visit family and friends. Now, being the fact that I was young, meant that I could have misinterpreted a lot from my childhood. However, if my memory was the only evidence I had, then I could simply put it down to an overactive imagination. But what I also remember is a week after Vic dying, I went to his funeral. Me, my parents, my sister. I remember walking to the crematorium. I remember the hymns, "The Lord is my shepherd" being one of them. I remember the priest saying how much Vic liked his cars and his bikes, and how he was a bit of a daredevil. I remember everybody getting together at the local bar afterwards and having a toast to Vic. It's not like my memory was the only thing convincing me what I'd seen was true. I talked to a dead man. Has anybody else ever experienced anything like this? Hey guys, it's Peacemaker here. Really hope you enjoyed the video today, and there's definitely more on the way. Do me a favor, like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. And if you know anybody who ever suffered at the hands of a glitch, let me know. And remember what I always say, be careful of those things that go bump in the night.